This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library.
Enough, you can get the Truefire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing. So just jump and do that if you're looking for the best price that you can get Truefire All Access for.
Okay, if you're anything like me, when you hear someone like Paul Reed Smith say it doesn't matter where a guitar is made, or someone from, both Fender and PRS folks have been saying this sort of thing. In particular, Fender had said it with the Fender Standard because they got some backlash about the Fender Standard being like a rebadged Squire, and they were saying, it's not. It's a real Fender. Now, to that effect, if someone were to come up to me maybe a few years ago and say, look, a PRS SE versus a USA-made Fender Telecaster, what are you picking and why? I think I'd have a fairly clear answer for you. In 2025, it's less clear to me. So let's dig into it a little bit. You're going to hear both these guitars through the same preset and stuff. So here we have a guitar that Fender sent to me, the Hotshot Telecaster. I saw also that Shawn Tubbs had done a demo of this guitar, and in it you have to say, like, it does sound like a Telecaster. And that's the one weak point I think that maybe this guitar has in the context of this particular demo. Now let me know in the comments if you think it sounds like a Tele or not. Got some hotter pickups in them, and what I found is that you have to dial them maybe back to like 7 or 8. Similar sorts of level, but what I found is that the Telecaster is a much brighter. Now, aside from that, I think I prefer the PRS SE NF53 in pretty much every aspect. Now let's handle some of those then. So both of them have a poly finish, and I cannot complain about Fenders. I just do think it's slightly less interesting looking, right? Now this could I saw a review from someone who said, what's his name, Ross Chevalier. That Guitar Lover is his blog. I might do a video on it because he has a very, very different opinion of this guitar than me, which I think is important to bear in mind, that you might absolutely hate this guitar. He calls this dog shit. The finish, where it's actually called dog hair. I really like the finish, but understanding that it's kind of, you know, quite different from anything else, right? Whereas the Fender is just your bog standard. You know, does it look obviously American? To me, not really. This could be a player. Does it feel obviously American? That's another thing for me, where it's like, because these neck shapes on these guitars are also similar on the Fenders, like the Player 2, the Professional, the Ultra, the neck thickness is pretty much, well, not very dissimilar at all. You have to go for either Vintera or the American Vintage to get different sort of neck carves. For me, this is a very skinny neck on this Telecaster, which is, I say very, it's not very, but they call it a modern classic. And it's definitely very skinny compared to this one, which is much more like a no-caster sort of neck, where it's 7/8 of an inch here, down to 31/32 of an inch here. So basically an inch here, and just shy of an inch here. So you get like a much thicker adult feeling neck, is how I would describe it. I also think, like, in terms of something that's going to catch anyone's eye, I feel like this is a more memorable design. Now, onto actual sort of quality and playing. Again, so I've shown close-ups of the Fender where it's like, actually the fretboard and the fretwork and that sort of stuff does have some very obvious signs of human interaction with it, in that there's some tooling marks. It's not necessarily perfect. The rosewood, you know, is showing some tooling bits and pieces. Other than that, it's very much tidy. But I feel like the NF53 for me wins out. Like, fit and finish is perfect. I think. There's a tiny bit of discoloration in terms of the wood here on the scarf joint. Maybe you're seeing like a bit of glue. There's a bird's eye there. But it's, you know, very quality feeling, and more so I would even say than the US Fender, which to me, again, like I'd say, if you told me this, you know, I've not believed quite a lot of what's been said about PRS SEs in the past. For instance, when people were comparing the Silver Sky to the Silver Sky SE and saying, you know, it's hard to tell the difference. It's not. It's very easy to tell the difference. They're quite different guitars. You know, for one, like the Silver Sky SE has this kind of satin finish. The real Silver Sky doesn't. 2-point trems and that sort of stuff. But in this case, you know, this satin feeling neck feels very, very nice. This is the nicest neck on any PRS guitar that I've ever felt. It's just all round. Jumping between them, I get just that real... This has just got such a different sort of wider, thinner feeling neck to me. It's quite stark the difference. So I would say, you know, if you're someone who's a real fan of these sort of Fender player professional style necks, then you're going to really, I think, not get on with that PRS well. But if you're someone like me who's finding like all of these Fender necks just a bit on the skinny side, then I would say the NF53... Gotta say, the PRS SE to me feels like the more professional instrument, just based on my own preferences, and I'm totally open to the idea that many people are going to totally think that this neck is not going to work at all. So do take that with a pinch of salt. But in every other area, I think it stands up so well. And maybe I think just build quality to me looks better on this thing, if I'm totally honest with you. And again, I wouldn't necessarily believe this if I was just someone who didn't have these two guitars in my hands. But I think this really does show to me how good PRS SEs can be. And maybe they're not all this good, but if some of them are, then don't sleep on them. Like if there's a guitar like an SE wise that looks like it could be your bag, and does it sound the most Telecaster like? Not necessarily. Would this be, to me, a better guitar than this one if you put these pickups in here? To me, yes. This to me is like just a better feeling guitar in my hands. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. This is just a loaner from PRS. I don't get to keep it, but this one was sent to me by Fender, and I'd like it to be the other way around. But you know, in this case, I feel like the PRS SE, I've got to say, is the guitar that I'd much rather take home with me.